Ah, fingers. The toes of your hands. Whether you're a kid pretending they're a cowboy or just that cool of a guy, or you were super into the Freddie W era of YouTube and your first attempt at an After Effects gunshot, you just said, f it, and did it with your hand instead. Whatever the case, finger guns are universal. But what if you could use finger guns in VR? Now these right here are exactly what they look like. They're VR gloves. I bit my lip, ow. But the cool thing is that they don't really use bulky sensors along the fingers. They use what they call an elastic sensor, which not only makes them incredibly comfortable, but also very accurate.
Like, they're more or less, you know, good motion capture gloves.
They're called UDCAP. UDCAP? Hubcap? I don't know. But they sponsored this video so they could show you what they've been cooking up. As a reminder, sponsorship does not dictate my opinions on a product. A while back in another video, I covered how Steam Link allows you to actually use the Quest hand tracking in PC VR.
So crazy. I'm not using any controllers right now. I'm just using my hands, and I'm in Half-Life Alyx. That's crazy.
But there were, of course, some downsides. Gesture controls can get a little bit messy. You have to set up every control yourself, and generally the only thing you get out of it is the immersion of seeing your hands moving in VR, which is really cool, but it gets old pretty fast, especially since you're limited by the hand tracking only working with what the Quest cameras can see.
There is a function for grip. I have it set up on this hand only, but not many other functions on my fingers. The one finicky thing is that you have a grip function, but it accidentally will trigger a bunch of other functions.
But with these, you have the majority of the keybinds you need for regular VR games just placed here on your finger. You have 2 face buttons, a clickable control stick, and a little bit of haptic feedback on your index finger. To grab, you just, well, grab, and to pull the trigger, you simply pull a pretend trigger with your index finger.
One of my main concerns with these, though, when before they arrived, was
at first I was a little bit worried about finger fatigue, since when you think about it, with a controller, your finger only travels a few millimeters to pull a trigger, not a full open and close. But luckily their software is detailed enough that you can both calibrate them exactly to your hands, as well as set up how much of a pull on the triggers, well, the trigger. How many times can I say trigger in one sentence? There's one keybind for a thumb pad press, but unfortunately for me this doesn't work too well because the gloves fit on my thumb a bit weirdly. Luckily this is largely just an extra button in games anyway, so you don't really need it, and the menu button for SteamVR is bound to hitting both face buttons at once. All this is to say that these gloves essentially just emulate Valve Index controllers. To track position and rotation, you can use a variety of different mounting and tracking options, but since not everyone has base stations or full body trackers, especially right now, luckily these also work with the Quest. I even got them working with the Pimax Crystal Light, since these are largely just Quest 2 controller clones. And now of course you're probably wondering how these actually work in-game. Even though these are largely marketed towards social VR users like Resonite, VRChat, what I want to focus on today are true VR games. Games in which hand presence isn't just a gimmick, but something that actually elevates the experience. Because to me, that's the true test of VR gloves. Can they replace your regular controllers regularly? Well, first of all, I wasn't off to a good start since I had an issue to tackle with my unit arriving a little bit faulty. My control stick had both a 90-degree rotated and inverted controls, my buttons were backwards, and
Okay, so there's an interesting thing that I've discovered. This entire time I've been filming with these things, I thought I had a defective unit, and I was going back and forth. How do I fix this? Do I need to send it back? Do you need to send a new one? And they kept telling me like, no, nothing's wrong with it. And look at the manual, Larry. Turns out I had this in backwards. I didn't think that would. Anyways, it works just fine. Make sure you read the manual.
This makes 3 whole videos now where I've been playing this same exact BioShock mod. I'm gonna finish it someday, I promise.
Now, Half-Life Alyx is the obvious first choice, but this is an example of where that thumb pad input I mentioned doesn't really work too well.
I don't know, man. The thumb pad control for the gloves, I don't see the point in it, because it's not an actual thing you can tactically feel.
As a result, it caused more issues than it solved, so I just rebound my controls to be similar to the Quest controls I was already used to.
There we go. That's way better. It's way more familiar, too, for me. Click the stick in, boom.
As expected, it's really cool. In Half-Life Alyx, you have these gravity gloves, right? But with this contraption on your hand, it almost feels like a realistic representation sitting on the back of your hand.
Man, it's like you really have the gravity gloves now. That's really cool.
It's an incredible feeling, all without giving up any controls.
That's really cool.
Now, as for drawbacks, the joystick on your finger is easy to reach on both hands, but the one downside in more serious games like this, however, you need to kind of activate the trigger pull in-game to bring the buttons close enough to press, which results in you wasting some ammo here and there. Maybe like 1 or 2 shots, but that's it. In Half-Life Alyx, you generally have enough ammo for any given gun, so firing 1 or 2 bullets isn't such a big deal, though.
And over you go.
And that's especially the case when your ammo is essentially infinite in a game like Vertigo 2.
Don't you dare. Don't even think about it. I'll shoot you in the booty. Oh, right in his horse pelvis.
Vertigo 2 is still one of the freaking weirdest games we have in VR.
No, don't eat it. Okay.
But goddamn is this game fun.
This is payback for all the pain you caused me in the last video.
And when these things hit you, it felt seriously sharp and forceful.
Do it. Hurt me. Do it. Oh! God!
but it's essentially an archery fight between you and them. I seriously never know what to expect when I load this game up.
I'm fighting jelly creatures in a tree underground with a portal gun. I swear I'm not having a fever dream. I swear. I might be. I don't know.
This is another game where I needed to rebind my controls away from the thumb pad for opening my weapon wheel, but as soon as I did that, the game felt really good with these gloves.
Left stick click was already teleport anyway. It didn't need... There were 2 bindings for it. Yeah, as soon as you get rid of the thumb pad for accidental presses, like, the main point of VR gloves for me is that none of your fingers, other than, like, the trigger, should be doing anything other than grab. That's just my 2 cents on it. Ah, you little bastard.
If I go to pick something up with my hand, I want to basically only have my hand closing as the end result. And so far, that's been consistent. It's really convenient. Where it gets a little less convenient are games that have index controller support, but for some reason don't work as expected in-game. Even if a game does have finger support with Valve index controllers, it seems like that doesn't mean it's always going to work. PunjiVR is a Vietnam War game that was sent over to me recently. It's an early access, but kind of everything went wrong.
We're gonna get hit and taken down? Oh, there we go. Freaking called it. Oh, it's early access. Remember, it's early access, okay? Is there fall damage? We're gonna find out. Oh, oh, damn, you bastards.
The gloves were misaligned and not angled right. And then there's this stuff in the corner that I pushed out of the way so it wouldn't be in the frame, but then I left my webcam just pointed right the hell at it. And then my camera shut off at one point from a failing battery.
We still recording? Yeah, we still record.
But all of this said, it was still a fun experience. UDCAP luckily has all of the position and rotation options available in their software.
Okay, that's actually lining up with what my hands are doing now. Cool.
So after a little bit of fiddling around, I got everything close enough that I could play for a little bit. I could have done a better job with my hand position, but whatever.
Did it. Nailed it. Perfect.
And this game actually has some really cool features.
Tunnel rat, gun truck. Let's do tunnel rat. Okay, that's actually kind of sick. If you hold down, you can move with the control stick, but if you want to, yeah, if you get prone, you can... Oh, that's kind of cool.
Like, seriously, crawling along with your hands, with your actual hands, is actually a really cool experience.
Oh, is that a trap? No! Oh. God damn, that's terrifying. Wait, I'm alive. Oh, I've got, like, blurred vision. Oh, I can't see straight. Do I have a concussion? How long does this last? Okay, that long. Oh, that was kind of cool.
Now, of course, not every game on PC actually has finger tracking, since most games are made with singular grip buttons in mind, like for the Quest.
The thing that we're looking for here are games that actually have individual, you know, finger support. Okay, maybe this ain't that dog.
But even in games where you don't get to see your fingers moving individually, it still winds up being a really fun experience.
I'm really immersed right now. Okay. This way to exclamation point. Okay. Oh.
PunjiVR is one example of that, since the fingers weren't working with the gloves.
But you need to look alive here, otherwise you're not gonna look like anything except for a freaking Jackson Pollock.
And another game I tried was the Light Brigade.
Here's a really cool thing about this game, though, is that the praying mechanic is like a thing to like progress different levels and to like, you know, kind of give yourself X-ray vision for a second. But usually it just compensates because your controllers can't actually like go together to make this movement. But with gloves, you can just... Man, you could pray properly now.
And like I mentioned earlier, since you can set up the threshold for which grip or trigger actually trigger at, you can kind of pretend to be holding a gun without closing your hand into a full fist. It's decently immersive, even though you're not getting the benefit of the individual fingers.
Yeah.
But moving on to social VR games, with VR chat being the main one, finger tracking is really cool.
And it is actually kind of nice to just be like, you're not holding a controller, you can just kind of relax and you just kind of like, you just move around. I could see this like being a really cool thing.
Sometimes you don't realize how useful your fingers are for expressing yourself until you don't have that freedom anymore. So naturally, VR gloves are just a great solution to that problem, especially if you don't want to spend money on index controllers, base stations, you know, if they're in stock. They did get fingers playing working, which is impressive, but if we compare this to the finger tracking of the built-in hand tracking on Quest, it kind of gets shown up a bit. And again, keep in mind, the rotation of my thumb is a little off here, so the thumb is not going to look perfect, but it's still kind of surprising that it looks a little robotic here.
Like, if what you're looking for is like, I just want to be able to move my fingers individually so I can express myself and flip people off, you know? Like, if that's the main thing you're looking for, you can accomplish that. It's not bad. If you have a standalone ecosystem, it can be a really cool solution without having to get base stations and index controllers. But you know, there are some downsides, and I'm sure you saw right here, I was doing this. Like, right now, it's losing tracking, because my hand is actually obscuring the entire controller right now. And then it corrects.
And even though the Quest 3 hand tracking does have more finesse, it's very limited. You don't have any buttons, you don't have any control sticks, and then there's the big stopgap of it's only based on what the cameras can see. With VR gloves, it just has to be able to see the controller.
Hold on. For Super Earth.
But again, these gloves I think are a great application for just regular old VR gaming. I've saved what I think is the best for last year because Metro Awakening is hands down the most fun I had with these things. There's the immersion of having your hands free, the hand accuracy.
Oh, you can do a peace sign. That's neat.
Even though I had a few issues with this game at launch.
Textures are on high right now. Just for fun and to melt my PC. I'm gonna go into here, graphics. Oh no, textures are at ultra. Damn, this is ultra. Oh, guys, no.
I mean, it's Metro in VR, it's sick. And adding VR gloves for extra immersion is so much fun.
Okay, you know what? That's actually kind of sick.
This is a game where your ammo is very scarce though, so that accidental trigger pull when you're reaching for the other buttons to eject a magazine or something, or even worse, a very limited and tedious crossbow bolt, just was not gonna work.
Just the button. Whoops. I think I would recommend in a game like this, where you have your controls for like ejecting a magazine or opening a chamber like this, rebind them onto your other hand.
But once I rebound that and got going, I was actually just fully immersed. This is a perfect application for VR gloves.
This is actually kind of sick. Ooh. Oh boy, 2 bullets. That was worth hiding away.
Okay, so I know I saved the best for last, but that was a lie, because Beat Saber, even though it's recommended on their homepage, is easily the worst game application for VR gloves I've ever seen.
This is weird. Why would they recommend this one? This is painful, borderline painful on my hand.
It's funny. It's kind of fun, but like oh.
Maybe with a lighter tracker it would be better. But with a Quest controller, I don't know, man.
It first of all just feels kind of weird to not be actually wielding a handle while swinging a lightsaber, but the weight of the Quest controllers just does not work for fast-paced games like this.
Because this is just constantly just shaking on your hand.
If you have full-body trackers, it might be a little bit better since they're lighter weight, but oh boy.
Oh. See, that's why I don't recommend Beat Saber for this.
So to state the obvious, I have my doubts about how great or safe of an experience you can have with these on VR combat games like Blade and Sorcery if you're swinging wildly.
Yeah, I don't recommend Beat Saber for this.
At least with Quest controllers, since they're a little bit heavier.
It's too many. It's too many fast movements, dude.
And I'm sure what many of you are wondering is, well, are these things worth it? Well, yes and no. I think there's some improvements to be made to them, especially in the department of securing the mounts to the gloves. Currently, the mounts only snap onto the gloves like this, but I would really urge them to move to like a screw system or anything more long-term. Like, they set these up in a way for easy switching on the fly, but most people are just going to be using one controller type, whether they use full-body trackers or standalone controllers like me. So what's the point of them being easily removable like this to the point that one wrong move could have cost me my monitor or my side panel on my PC or something? These things need to be way more secure. The controller mounting situation for the controller specifically could really use some work. I found myself needing to tighten the hell out of these things to not have them slip out if I even lightly tugged on them. I think if they implemented a more flexible silicone coating on the inside like the mount for this VR gun, I think I would have way more confidence in the mount. Honestly, anything would be better than these 2 hard plastic coatings trying their best to hang on for dear life. Plus, the screw situation for tightening them is just not ideal at all. They should really implement like a fly nut or at least a flathead opening to even use like a coin or whatever to just make it a little bit easier to tighten. But with all of that said, these are freaking cool, dude. Come on, they're VR gloves. We're living in the future. This is sick.
You know what? This is pretty sick. Okay, this is pretty damn good. There are some games that are working better in it than others. And I don't know how much support like UDCAP needs to actually provide themselves to make these things, you know, work properly. But so far, this is actually kind of sick.
Like, I can mime holding a gun, actually feel rumble feedback in my finger from the gun firing, and then have finger tracking without losing the functionality of a controller.
Generally really good material though, like it feels durable, but you know, time will tell.
If anything, the biggest barrier to entry for this thing is gonna just be the price. At $600 US, this is something not for the casual PC VR gamer. But with that said, if you're someone super into immersive technology and always wanting to try out bleeding edge tech, or you're a VR chat player that seemingly has infinite money to spend on accessories and full body tracking, like seriously, VR chat players are a different breed. But for people like that, it's seriously a cool accessory. It's a product for enthusiasts that won't miss the money. With all of that said, UDCAP and I have set up a 10% discount code with code Larry to save close to $60 off the price. There's a link in the description down below if you want to check them out. And now going forward, am I going to be using these much? Well, if it's a game where I'm not going to be swinging my arms wildly and just casually playing instead, I can honestly see myself pulling these out sometimes to game with.
Yeah.
They're breathable, apparently easy to wash. I haven't done it yet. And even though it takes a little while to actually get in game, once you're in game, it's really damn cool, dude. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed. The roach problem has been getting much better lately. Thank you for the support. Unfortunately, I sprained my foot for a couple weeks. I was sick all last week, so we've been going through it, dude. As always, huge thanks to you honorary Larrys that support on YouTube and Patreon. If any of you want to see your name here and help to support the videos around here, there are links in the description down below. Also, shout out right back to Habby for not only telling some of you folks to subscribe, but also for inviting me to play in that Dungeons of Eternity video. Like, that was so much fun, and also, you know, big welcome to all of you folks coming over from there. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. I will see you in the next one. Cheers.
Looking for 3 pieces of intel. My gun's smoking, I think.